if you could have a great product, but the dealer still needs support to run what you're to implement what you're trying to do. They still need that support. And no matter what we do, we try to get away from it. And here's the really hard part, is that the support for the dealer to use it is a very specific kind of support. Somebody who knows something about the car business. It's hard for somebody who doesn't know anybody in the car business to show up at your store and show you how to use it. They're going to have one way of how it was built to use it. They're not going to know how you work and how it folds into that. They're going to know less about to tell you how to, well, let me help you make that better.
Welcome to the Old Guys Know Shit podcast in Dealercast Studios, where we bring together decades of automotive knowledge all together in one place. Here's your host, Old Guys Who Know Shit.
Hey, what's going on, Dealercast Nation? I am Jason Harris.
And I'm Rob Mudd.
And I'm Larry Bruce.
And this is the Old Guys
That Know Shit
podcast.
Closer.
We're getting there.
Getting there.
We're working on our unisons.
Yeah.
I'm making up words.
All the same time, unison.
Yeah,
unison.
we're getting some strategery on our unises.
Our strategery. And that is, we always like talking strategery, don't we?
Yeah, strategery.
What are we going to talk about now?
Today, we are going to talk about the vendor-dealer relationship. Are dealers tired of the pitch? You like
when
that
it's
one?
Bullshit, yeah.
There's a lot of bullshit out there.
Oh,
I mean, I'm like, okay, Larry, how many times have you been pitched?
As a dealer?
Yeah.
We were. By the time I got out in '99, there wasn't that many pitches.
Really?
No, I mean, we hadn't really the technology.
I guess that wasn't.
Technology hadn't overwhelmed the car business yet.
That's true.
We were running. It's funny. We were running a CRM system I helped build in Access. We were running database marketing program that I eventually turned into AIM Data. And I had our key track machine, a wire going from that to the CRM system. And I told all the salespeople that every time you check out a key, it tracks you. And so you have to enter the customer in the CRM system. It didn't do anything.
It was just a wire sitting there.
But it was very pronounced. It was like a big yellow, Cat 5 wire.
This thing is monitoring.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I told the salespeople, every time you take out a key, it's tracking you took out the key and what key they took out. And if there's not a customer in there that's attached to that key, you're in trouble.
Did you ever test them? Did you go up to Bill and say, Bill, is there something you need to tell me?
No, I never got that far.
I think I would.
But that would have been
Invisible fence for a dog.
Yeah. Do you want to test it? Yeah. Test it, Bill. Go ahead, test it. See what happens.
We didn't get that many. We didn't get that many pitches back then.
Okay, well, I got pitched a shit ton. I mean, I think in my career, as I got into management, would have been around 2005. And that was literally the ramp of all technologies at this point, right? And then going from there into 2010, which became the whole decade of widgets. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a widget for everything.
Yep. Yeah,
there was a bloody widget for absolutely anything and everything. We had a freaking widget
I think Gubagoo owned 50% of those widgets.
There was.
They were the widgets. Their widgets had widgets.
Yeah. Their widgets had widgets, and everything was the $399, $599. All you had to do was sell one more car to cover the cost of it. Blah, blah, blah. But I've easily been pitched over 200, 300 times throughout my career. I've thrown out a handful of people. I have. It got so confrontational that I've had to physically throw people out. But I would say generally, dealers today, they're tired of the pitch because I don't think what they're looking for is much as of a product pitch as much as they're looking for people to. Well, yeah, I think today a progressive dealer out there is now looking more for a partner. Than a product.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
They're looking
most people are widget salespeople.
Well, they still are. So they're still trying to sell products and widgets and stuff like that. But I think in reality, as an operator, all right, we're looking for people to partner up with us in certain aspects of the business. And this could be something as simple as taking the pictures of my car. I just want to partner with someone and just know it's done. I don't have to go double check it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it. I just know that I found the right person to partner with, and they're going to ensure that it's just always completed and ready.
Yeah, so you're going to try to get out of the inspect what you expect.
So Mud's been around for 45 years.
Just a few days.
Yep. And that's allowed us to be viewed as a partner because that's what we want to be too.
Sure.
Is a partner. I believe, I'm biased a little bit, right, that what makes us a good partner is our experience. We've got a lot of wins, but we also have some losses, right?
Sure.
And that makes you smarter. And so when the tech guys came in the world, they thought that experience was a bad thing, right? Well, experience is never a bad thing, unless you have bad experiences. but if you don't, I mean, understanding of the business, I think, is a big thing. And I think that a lot of people that I've ran into that are out pitching car guys aren't looking at it from the perspective that we look at it. We look at, hey, we're here, we're a steward of this man's money and the result that you get back from the money. It's not about the credit. It's about, did you help this individual in his store get more opportunities to sell more cars?
Was there a real ROI?
Yeah, and did we do better than the guy they fired to give us the job?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think most dealers like to talk about a partner.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know they always view the partner.
No, there are definitely some dealers out there that would never treat a vendor as a partner. In fact, actually, will literally treat you as kind of a third-class citizen, telling you that you're always on the firing squad, just so you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so if you're a dealer and you're going to be a partner, be a partner.
Sure.
Okay. And if you're a
goes
vendor,
both ways, right?
Yeah. And if you're a vendor and you're going to be a partner, be a partner. Okay. But you can't call yourself a partner if you're not willing to, follow up and do the things you said you were going to do.
Well, and I think that was kind of one of the questions I put here, right? Are dealers becoming more skeptical of vendor promises? I remember being in a pitch where I swear the only answer that this salesperson knew was yes. I could have asked, does this thing poop rainbows and create gold bars for me? And I think the answer would have been yes. I see this happening too often.
Yeah.
The other thing I see is box checkers, right? Because everything is such in the digital world, which is now a commodity. I mean, it is.
Yep.
It's commoditization, which is a bad business to be in. But it's a commoditization with no real true value that is measured against anything else. Because I won't go down that rabbit hole. But it's about impression share. It's about clicks. It's the same thing we talk about all the time. I think if I'm a dealer, I want someone that knows what we know, right? Because we know that we're not always right, but we know how the dealership operates.
Sure.
Right? You know the urgency that dealers have. You understand the month starts on the 1st and ends at the last day of every month, and then a new game starts. And that they're constantly starting from zero and have to get to the number. That the challenges that dealers have, the headaches that they have, the value that they bring to a community, all the things that the car business has done it's made this country.
Sure.
Right? They pay more taxes than anybody else in the community. They're an integral part. And if you wanted to wipe out the car business or hurt the American fabric of America, what would you do? You'd ruin the fucking car business.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
from
fact.
Yeah. I don't know that from a standpoint of the vendor, right?
No, I don't mean the vendor.
Yeah. But I would think that if you're a dealer today, we didn't. Ironically, most of my experience comes from not the only vendors I dealt with was the newspaper gal, the TV guys, the ad agency, and I had one technology vendor, the CRM guy that I'd helped build, right? There just wasn't this deluge that you have today.
Yeah.
Of all these guys coming out of the woodwork with every little widget or whatever. And I think the biggest problem that dealers have with all these people, and the biggest problem the vendors have with all these people, is it's hard to find people. They're all all the vendors. You've got, I mean, how many? Thousands in the car business now. And so they're all trying to find that small group of people who know the business, right?
Yep.
To come help.
You know, it used to be that in order to get in from the business, from my perspective, the advertising marketing side of it, you had to know a lot of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you just didn't learn it overnight.
Mm-hmm.
When digital came on the scene, all you needed was one of these.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
The barrier of entry was a computer.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
And so then you have all these people that want to be in the business that now I have to determine whether they're real or they're just hiding behind the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's
Well,
that's
yeah, I
what's
mean,
made it more
then
challenging.
you created all these widgets that we had to use.
Yes.
That we had to run, right? I had to walk behind my salespeople, make sure they entered everything into my CRM. I had to make sure I had to pull my Google Analytics and analyze my Google Analytics. I had to know what all that.
What did you
meant.
analyze when you did that?
Yeah, we analyzed the stupid stuff, right? Yeah, what was my bounce rate?
I'm kidding.
And then what?
Not
how
really.
how many clicks did? No, I mean it's
I know,
it's
it's
serious.
insane.
I mean,
It's silly.
I got a 5.7% click through rate. Is
And
that
what
good?
do you think when someone actually
don't know.
believes that is an important statistic,
Yeah.
and they'll die on a hill on that fight and believe it? So what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, well, you can't. There's nothing. Again, you're talking to a guy, and then back then they were talking to a whole bunch of people who this is all brand new.
Right.
Yep.
So click through rate. Oh, and it sounded good. Click through rate. I mean, the reason why it's called a customer data platform, as opposed to a relational marketing database, as opposed to just a database, as opposed to just a list. A list doesn't sound good. A relational marketing database sounds a little bit better, or a database sounds a little bit better. Relational marketing database, that sounds even better. Customer data platform sounds really good. Data lake.
So here's my next question then for you guys. What separates a good vendor versus a bad vendor? Like today, by today's standards, like
Service.
is
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
the key now?
Service.
100%.
It's always been the key.
Yep.
I mean, you know, the product is great. If you could have a great product, but the dealer still needs support to run what you're to implement what you're trying to do.
Yes.
They still need that support, and no matter what we do, we try to get away from it. And here's the really hard part: is that the support for the dealer to use it is a very specific kind of support. Somebody who knows something about the car business. It's hard for somebody who doesn't know anybody in the car business to show up at your store and show you how to use it. They're going to have one way of how it was built to use it.
Yep.
They're not going to know how you work and how it folds into that. They're going to know less about to tell you how to. Well, let me help you make that better, right? That's always the hard part. Was that, you know, every company that I've built, you know, just getting the people, having to train my people so that they could help the dealer fold it, not just fold it into what they do, but make what they do better.
Sure.
Because every guy, all he needed to do was come out with an MVP and get the most viable product into a dealer's hand, and then they'll teach us what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. That happens a lot, and of course the dealer, he's pissed because he's showing that he's building the product for this guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And what's the most, when you're building technology, what's the hardest part? To educate the guy building it on your business, so the discovery
They're
cost
frustrated. Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
through the roof.
Right, and then that's when you hear the term, "Well, I don't want to be the guinea pig."
Yeah.
Right. Well, what that means is I don't want to build your shit for you.
Right.
Well, I think you guys are right. I think what makes the difference between a good vendor and a great vendor, it is the fact that they are results driven. All right, that it is not some type of fluffy number, that they are actually driving real measurable results, either through phone calls or walk-ins. I skipped internet leads because I don't know how real some of that is anymore. It's just like, it's ridiculous how many come in and people, so it's like, I think it's just that is what I think people need to be looking for in a good vendor. And to your point, we don't need as many as we do. I got to be honest with you.
You can't stop that. I mean, there's no way to stop that, right? I mean, there's the private equity guys have figured out that car people spend a bunch of money on crap. And so they're funding guys who have and they're just dumping this stuff on car dealers. And the poor car dealer, he's getting 200 calls a day on stuff, and I don't know what to go look at. So that now they're hiring people, and some of the guys, I'll be honest with you, some of the guys that I'm talking to that they're hiring to vet technology.
They don't have. No, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing, man? I mean, I asked one of them, how many cars did you sell? What do you mean? Well, how many cars did you sell? I don't know what you're talking about. You haven't been on the floor? No. Then how the hell are you advising the dealer on what to use in his car dealership?
That's what I mean.
You don't even know what the damn salesperson's going through. So but somehow this is good technology. Come on, man.
Yep.
What are you doing? Well, I know technology. Well, you know what? I know technology too.
But they don't know application of technology.
I mean, come on, man. This craziness of the dealer really needs to take a second. And if you are vetting a piece of technology, then say, show me how it would work doing this.
Yes.
Show me. Make it work doing this. Mm-hmm. And then how does that make this process better?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. What problem are you solving?
Yeah.
What's the purpose?
Right, because the technology is there to solve a problem. Well, and that's what
or create efficiency.
Yeah, well, that's the
and I think efficiency
problem.
is kind of the key thing here, right? When I think of any vendor that I bring in, I'm bringing them into an ecosystem that exists of people, process, and technology. And whatever that vendor is bringing in, they should be bringing some level of efficiency to that ecosystem that is my people, process, and technology. Where versus you see them will come in and throw in just like a wrench into the whole thing. You don't want to see that.
Well,
happen.
because it's like buying a pizza. Are you going to just buy one slice from one guy and get another slice from another guy to make your own pizza? No.
Well, for the most part, that's how it was for a long time. Yeah.
That's how it is now.
Yeah.
If you look at these things, like you look at these chat widgets and these chat bots. They're one piece.
They're one piece.
And then you look at the website. It's another piece. And then you look at the whole the CRM application. It's another piece.
And those pieces don't talk to each other.
Well, okay, so that's so this goes in kind of a good segue into my question that I had here is like, are vendors adapting to the needs of a modern dealership, or are they falling behind? Because you're right. The needs of a modern dealership, I think, has fundamentally changed. Let's start there. What is the needs of a modern dealership?
Is understanding all the technology that's out there supposedly to make you.
They need to
efficient.
streamline that process.
Yeah.
And there needs to be that process needs to flow.
Right.
Linear.
Linear. That's right.
And so when I meet and I greet, I easily get the customer's name, email address, mobile number.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
That instantly lets my manager know I'm with a customer. That process times, and if I haven't collected that customer information within that period of time, then let my manager know. If I still haven't, or if I haven't, remind me, and then if I still haven't after another period of time, let my manager know.
I'm with you. Vendors that provide technology that dictate a process to me without me allowing to dictate the process. To it is falling behind, right? I think we all agree, the industry agrees, is that the days of that 12-point sale is gone, right? Consumers want a buying process, not a sales process. If they want a buying process, if they want to spend 3.5 hours negotiating, we'll let them do it. If they want to be in and out in an hour, we'll let them do it. If they're one of those small percentage of people that want it delivered to their house, well, all right, we'll do it. That is the new expectation. And if a vendor is providing me a piece of technology that forces me to use a process that I haven't already adopted, then I think you're right, it's falling behind.
It's falling behind. And the other thing that seems to be what everyone sells is convenience. And convenience...
For who, though?
Well, convenience for the end user.
Well, sometimes I see vendors selling convenience to a dealer, but actually makes it more difficult for the customer to even,
Yep. And why is that? Because the guy selling it didn't know the whole ecosystem of what he was trying to sell.
Well, the guy selling, the guy built it for the manager, didn't build it for the salesperson. Most for salesperson and writers, most technology today was built to cause them work, not work for them.
Sure.
It creates work for them.
That's a CRM at its best right now. That's why all of those CRMs, I think, are not in line with what a modern dealership needs today.
Yeah, and so these processes, but I took it in there and I showed the manager, look at what you can know. Ooh. I showed the dealer, look at what you could know, and the dealer bought it. And then he told his salespeople, this is what you're going to go do. And, of course, they don't go do it. They do it half the time. He's getting a bullshit metric. He's mad. You're mad. Nothing's working the way it should be. Everybody's nothing. It's not fulfilling the promise. It didn't solve the problem. It actually made the problem
New
worse.
problems.
Made the whole problem worse. And so now I'm mad at technology. Right? And
you're probably mad at yourself.
yeah. Well, no, the dealers don't ever get mad at themselves. It's always somebody else's fault. I guarantee that. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's not that it was your fault or the technology's fault. You bought it for a reason that wasn't the right reason. The right reason was to help your salespeople sell more cars.
So, getting back to the question, what is a good vendor? A good vendor is a vendor that understands they need to listen to their customer.
I agree.
Right? And then the good vendor has a good idea of what the problem for that dealer most likely
that vendor is going to advise at some level.
Because I don't care if you are in California or if you're in Florida or wherever and you run a Ford store, their problems are pretty much the same.
Yep.
We all have the same process. You're going to meet, you're going to greet.
Right.
You're going to select a vehicle, show a vehicle.
Yep.
Gain rapport on the way.
Yep.
I mean, these things are not going to change.
No,
they're not going to. Those steps are not going to change.
No.
If I think of like certain spaces, niches inside the automotive space, I think there's definitely vendors that are falling behind more than others, right? Like I think we all agree, majority of CRM systems have completely fallen behind between what a modern, dealership needs today.
Well, I mean that's a fault of two things, right? First of all, it's the fault that the VIN got bought by Cox. Big companies don't innovate; they buy.
They buy.
Right.
Well, also a little bit of the OEM's problem too.
Yeah, and then of course, Elite got bought by CDK.
Yep.
Right, and big companies don't innovate; they buy. And then you've got the manufacturers who have these certification programs they won't let anybody into, or they take forever to do. I mean, if you're a startup, man, I can't afford to hang out with you for 8 months while I get your certification. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The OEMs, I think, have not allowed vendors to work directly with modern dealers because we were falling behind. I think another important place, and this is where yours, Rob, is the traditional marketing agency. I think is that model is almost completely fallen behind and doesn't support the modern dealership today. Because to your point, you've said it so many times, it focuses on stupid shit. Yep. It's impressions and clicks and, hey, 300,000 people saw your video. But so how many more conversations did I get into? How many more? Anyways, I think there are certain niches, I think. And then to your point, even when they do have something good, the OEMs are holding them back from being able to work with the dealers.
What is today the big difference for me in working with franchise stores is how these guys are so bent on being controlled by co-op.
Oh my gosh,
it's not even that much.
The golden handcuffs.
No. It's like $500-600. In some cases, $500-600. It's a matter of your parts sales. It's all kind of locked up in that or wrapped up in that. And I don't even know how that works because what that's got to do with car sales.
The co-op play is not really advertising as much as getting back what they think is theirs.
Yeah,
it was already theirs in the first place.
Agreed.
But we've given you hoops and
and I'm going to jump through every one of those to get that $500
just to get that money, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, actually, I mean, what did somebody tell me? It's it's tripping over dollars to pick up nickels.
Yes.
Is that the right thing to say?
Yeah. Stepping over dollars.
Stepping over dollars to pick up pennies.
Stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. Because that's really what we're talking about here. We're so fixated that it's not a part of this, supposed program, which is ridiculous because everybody knows those programs. They're kicking back to the OEM to be a part of it. You're not even giving the full benefit
brand,
of it in the first place.
It's about the brand of the OEM. So you're
Is
just
it?
now, that's if it's a website.
That is the excuse they've used for it. Yes.
Who the dealers, the OEMs.
The OEMs.
The OEMs want to own it, right? I mean, it behooves them to everywhere market you go into. You open a Chevy deal on the web, and they all look alike.
Yep.
Right. Then it's not about the dealer; it's about the OEM.
Yes.
And so I think there's been a blending of what Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 is. It was in my day. It was always, hey, Tier 1 owns the brand, Tier 2 owns the
market,
or the offer, right?
Yeah.
The group offer.
The local offer.
Yeah, whatever
and
that
then Tier
regional
3
offer was.
is selling the payment or in the retail deal today, right? And so now, earlier we just said, who's responsible for the brand of the electric vehicle? Not the dealer.
No.
He can't afford to do that.
No.
It's the OE, but he's got to do something because he got this stuff pushed down to him. And then when you get to the OEM, they don't understand the pains of the dealer.
No.
They never have.
That's always been the wholesale retail
and what
relationship.
I don't get then is why they are so hooked on the co-op. I'd rather sell used cars.
I think the dealer looks at the co-op as a way to vet the technology.
Well, I find more and more modern
because you
dealers
have to use their
consider it.
vendors. You got to pick the ones.
So they assume General Motors picked the vendors or whoever picked the vendor. They assume they picked the vendor because that's a good vendor.
No, they picked the vendor that was going to bend over the hardest or farthest.
Yeah, that too. Right?
Or both.
Right? Because they got to pick someone. They got to pick someone in order to get it, and they don't really have choices. It's check the box.
I think there's some of that, but it is amazing that you'll put that much of your dealership process at risk for co-op.
I'm with you. So here, guys, I know we're getting towards the tail end of it, but what question should dealers be asking vendors to quickly identify that A, they are serving a modern approach and not falling behind, and then B, that they are in the business of partnering with their clients, not just selling them something to move on? What questions should dealers out there right now, those watching, listening, be using?
Here's one question I'd ask. Mr. Vendor, how do you provide or show me your worth? How do you justify my expense with you? What do you count that you believe is my KPI that would make me want to use your software or your product? How do you improve that KPI that you think you're going to help, that you believe that I need to focus on? What is that?
What are those KPIs? Yeah. I mean, I think I'd ask them, how do you train your people? My business.
And that's if they don't know your KPI, they don't know your business.
Well, yeah,
True.
I mean, but I mean,
I
mean, if I had service people, I mean, when we had service people, we always made them work in the store for 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks, right, in a dealership. They had to go work there
So that they can know enough of the
they
business
need
to be able to provide
understand
value.
the challenges that a salesperson runs through, the challenges of a service writer, the challenges of a parts counter person. Those frontline people that you're trying to support, because that's who you're trying to support.
The other thing that you've got to be very careful of today is the guys that are opportunists and know that the dealership needs help in many different areas, right? I think of these sales trainers that come in, and what the hell's the training and the hype to the training, right? The hype isn't sustainable. It's not.
No.
It's not sustainable. It's like a sugar high.
Yeah.
That's not what you need as a dealer. That's not the kind of vendor, the partner you want.
That's a quick fix.
That's a quick fix. And knee-jerk reactions live in the car space every day, which they suck, right? Because you can't predict a knee-jerk, and the knee-jerk isn't what you want to have. So what you do want to plan is the antithesis of the knee-jerk, right?
Yes.
And that takes time, but then it also takes understanding of why you need to do this for you, Mr. Dealer. Why do you... if I were to walk in a car deal right now and do a pitch to a dealer, I'd ask them certain things. I'd ask them, first of all, how many cars do you sell a month? It's amazing how many people just don't
even ask. And now I understand we've talked a little bit on the podcast so far about being at this vendor partnership, right? That goes both ways. So, one of the things I was doing in my dealership is I actually brought all my vendors together on the same call. And this was my website guy, my CRM guy, my marketing agency. All right, any trainer or coach that I had at the time, I brought them all on that call. 2 weeks prior to the next month. And all right, guys, here's my objectives. All right, I want you guys to take this back. I'm going to take this back. All right, and this time next week we're going to come together, and based on what you're responsible for, I need to know how you're going to help participate in getting to that. So that was a real partnership because they knew clearly what my objectives were. All right. And we worked together to strategize. All right. This is what the website guy was going to do. This is what the marketing guy was going to do. This is what the trainer or the coach guy was going to work on that month with the team. This is what, whatever other little widget or marketing company I was working with was going to, that collectiveness. All right. That was key, I think, for me for creating better partners.
The marketing wheel is what's the saying? Watch this merry-go-round go round and round.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not talking to all the pieces, you're not going to have the merry-go-round go around. So I mean, doesn't everybody do that?
Oh, you would think so, but you'd be surprised. They probably still do it the way I used to do it, which drove me nuts. That individual meetings with every single one of them, and never any one of these guys ever met or communicated with each other.
See, when I was an AE working in the business and running a team, we did everything. It wasn't a question of, hey, you can do that. I'm not going to get piecemealed here. If you want what we do, we need to do it all. Mm-hmm. Because I want to live and die on what our sword, not somebody else, because there's a lot of moving parts here, Mr. Dealer, sir. And you don't want someone that can blame somebody else, and then you're in the credit business. You're not in the credit business. You're in the determining result business.
Yes.
We're in the business not to get credit. We're in the business to help you hopefully sell more, have more opportunities to sell cars and make more money. That's it. And the credit thing is crazy. Attribution for credit is nuts. But they have to do it because no one does everything for them anymore.
It's true.
Yeah, well, but if you're going to have that meeting, then it can't be about results. It's got to be about, this is what I want to get done.
Right.
Yeah, objectives.
Right? Then too many dealers will have that meeting and say, okay, let's talk about the results you got.
Well, that means
XYZ, and then XYZ will blame it on 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 will blame it on this guy. They're all pointing fingers at one another.
Yep.
I'm trying to get this done, and you didn't answer my call last week. Well,
the dealers that's
they've
done that to themselves too.
Yeah, they've done. That's what I'm saying.
They want to pit everybody against each other.
Exactly.
Right?
Don't do that. You can't do that. That meeting can't be about that.
No.
Totally if you do, they'll stop wanting to have the meeting.
Yes.
You'll get nothing out of any of the meetings.
Right.
Everybody will be trying to blame the other guy.
Well, then at that point, what they're doing is providing the most minimal amount of service and solution for you to continue to do business with them. They're not going to go above and beyond.
Yeah. Here's another thing. I've never had that goofy meeting with an owner, but I have with GMs.
Yeah.
It's true. Different mindset, right? Exactly. We were talking about that earlier.
100%.
Well, look, guys, I know we're towards the tail end of our time, and that might actually be another good podcast topic. I want to make a note of that. But, hey, thank you so much, guys. It's been a lot of fun. I always have a blast, even if it is during a blizzard. I can hear that wind, man. It's just hit pinging the side of this building.
Yeah, it ain't stopped. It
really is. For everybody out there watching and listening right now, we thank you. One of the biggest compliments you can give us as content creators is to share the show. It means so much to us to share the show. And comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. We'd like to know other topics or other things you would love for us to continue to discuss. That'd be absolutely amazing. Guys, thank you. And for everybody out there watching and listening, you have yourselves an amazing day.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in to the Old Guys Know Shit podcast with your host, Old Guys Who Know Shit. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.